On March 5th, 2026, nearly 19 million voters in Nepal will elect 275 members of parliament. The first general election since dramatic youth-led protests in September 2025 toppled the government and plunged the country into its worst unrest since the civil war. At the center of this political reset are three very different contenders. First, KP Sharma Oli, the veteran Marxist leader and four-time Prime Minister. Ousted during last year's protests, Oli has spent decades in politics, including 14 years in prison during Nepal's underground communist movement. He denies responsibility for the deadly crackdown on protesters that left at least 77 people dead, blaming infiltrators instead. Now 74, he is seeking a comeback, framing the election as a battle between those who burn the country and those who build it. Then there is Gagan Thapa, a 49-year-old who positions himself as the face of generational change within the political establishment. Thapa recently led an internal revolt to take charge of the Nepali Congress, the country's oldest party. A former student activist jailed during protests in the 1990s, he promises governance reform and cross-party cooperation. His pitch is simple, a blend of experience and fresh energy. The third major figure reflects the anger that fueled last year's uprising. Balendra Shah, widely known as Balen. A former underground rapper turned civil engineer, Shah rose to prominence criticizing corruption through music before winning a shock victory as Kathmandu's independent mayor in 2022. Now aligned with the Rastriya Swatantra party, he is challenging Oli directly. At 35, he symbolizes youth frustration with entrenched elites and calls for economic liberalization combined with social justice.
तर भनिहालेँ नि रासुपाले जित्यो भने चाहिँ गर्छ नै जस्तो मेरो मनमा चाहिँ एकदम मेरो बुढो हो नि मेरो बुढोमा म प्रति मात्र हक लाग्छ भने जस्तै त्यो रासुपाको घन्टीले बालेनहरूले जित्यो भने गर्छ नै भनेर भित्रबाट आत्मादेखि नै खुसी भएर आउँछु क्या खुसी भएर आउँछ हाम्रो मेरो श्रीमानहरू लगायत अब जति पनि शहीद हुनुभएको छ उहाँहरूको रगतले बाटो पाउँछ शान्ति पाउँछ मिल्छ जस्तो फिल हुन्छ मलाई.
So how did Nepal get here? The crisis began on September 4th, 2025 when the government banned more than 24 social media platforms. The move sparked fury, especially among young Nepalis and the large overseas workforce whose remittances sustain the economy. Within days, protests erupted in Kathmandu. What started as opposition to censorship quickly broadened into anger over corruption and economic stagnation. Security forces opened fire during clashes, government buildings were torched, thousands of prisoners escaped, and chaos spread nationwide.
थुकैको लागि त्यो आन्दोलन यो मेन जडगाडी चाहिँ त्यो भ्रष्टाचारको हो भ्रष्टाचार न्यूनीकरण जिम्मेवार जुन भ्रष्टाचारमा चाहिँ कमाइनाको सम्पत्ति डको चाहिँ नेतादेव चाहिँ नाफान चाहिँ नेतादेव सम्पत्ति छानबिनमा चाहिँ राष्ट्रियकरण यामल प्लस चाहिँ नेपालले चाहिँ रोजगारी चाहिँ व्यवस्था चाहिँ जिम्मेवार यदि एजुल लगाता छ सम्भवतः थैबडी आन्दोलन हाम्रो लिबा चाहिँ जिमको राखिएको चाहिँ
Oli resigned as violence escalated. An interim administration led by former Chief Justice Sushila Karki was installed to stabilize the country and organize fresh elections. Now, with more than 3,400 candidates, nearly 30% under 40, this vote is seen as a test of whether Nepal's political system can genuinely renew itself. No party is expected to win an outright majority, making coalition talks almost certain. For voters, the choice is stark. A seasoned strongman promising stability, a reformist insider offering renewal, or a new generation challenger born out of protest. The outcome could shape Nepal's democratic future for years to come. With Farhan Khan, Bureau Report, India Today Global.